You know, I seem to remember an oath for better or for worse.
Yeah, I remember that oath too. I also remember you saying that both of our careers were equal. But that was only true as long as you had the better title, you made more money. But when I got that promotion, you couldn't stand it. And then when you got laid off on top of that, you resented me. You didn't treat me as your equal, and it was all about your career, your needs. That's what mattered. And now that you find yourself without a job, without much money, and without a wife, now it's family first. Now you're the family man, and now you want to come around. I'm not buying it. It's just a little too late.
Now, in working with maybe even some directors that you've worked with before, or new ones, do you find that, as far as the script goes, that you've felt enough that you can actually go to him and say, hey, maybe this would work instead, or do you tend to kind of go with what the script says?
That is a great question, and I do want to respect the director and the writer, so I would make sure that that's okay with the director. And when I was, first getting right back into film, I did not feel comfortable, or I just didn't want to offend the director, so I wouldn't ask that. But I think that's pretty common nowadays for an actor to say to the director, I'd feel more comfortable saying these lines this way. Is that okay with you? And then I had so much fun on Find a Way, because Burgess would say to us, I want a master that's pretty close to the script. And then he'd say, do whatever you want. And we would improv it. And then we got really fun. Like I told you, he'd take one of us aside and say, hey, try this. Think about this. And then we bring it back. So it all depends on the director, what they're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Most directors, I find, want you to be honest with the material, and if you feel like something's just not coming out right, it doesn't feel comfortable, then they'll allow you to change it. But in some films, the dialogue is really specific. Maybe it's a comedy, or maybe I just worked on Nowhere, and Ryan Thomas is he has some throwback lines that are like references to other films he's done. So those are real important lines for him. You can't cut those out. So I want to, so like I said, again, it's whatever the director's comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Having said that, Ryan also encouraged us to do a lot of improv. I love improving into a scene, and sometimes a director will take what you've improved and they'll use it. So I always tell, I don't tell an actor this, I always tell myself, just communicate with the director, and if you're really lucky, they'll trust you, and that if something's better for you. When I go to an audition, however, I don't do as much, don't do too much improving. If I drop a line or if I paraphrase it, I think that's okay, but I wouldn't go completely off the script.
Okay. Do you ever still experience stage fright or anything like that, even though you've been doing
nerves? You know, when I get nerves most of the time, it's with auditions. Mm-hmm. Once I get the role, I get excited, and I might have some adrenaline. But I have to say, nerves can hinder me. So I really don't want to be too nervous. I will not drink coffee the day of an audition or the day of filming, because that will trigger the nerves or just exacerbate whatever nervousness I might have. I think it's just time in the business, and they never go away, because I've been in the business for a while, and you still get nervous, and that's not a bad thing. Some people use those nerves. You should always use whatever you're feeling in the moment, in the scene, in the audition. You should go with it, because you can't fight it. But having said that, I always try to be as calm as possible when I do go to an audition. And the more you audition, the less nervous you're going to be, because you'll just get comfortable. Okay, I'm doing another audition. You also won't put as much weight on the outcome of the audition if you just keep auditioning. Mm-hmm. But I have also found that kava tea, if I feel like I'm really going to be nervous about a role I'm doing or an audition, I will drink kava tea to relax me. And some breathing exercises, some vocal exercises before I go. Just having a little bit of quiet time by myself before I go. And then if I'm on set and I have a emotional scene, I'm gonna probably be a little anxious about that. I will separate myself from other cast members because I'll need to, I hate to use the phrase go to that place, but I probably will have to go to that place if it's that kind of scene, and being laughing and talking with my fellow castmates might make me more nervous going into the scene. Mm-hmm. So if I think I'm going to be nervous about something, I'll just be by myself, just kind of take my alone time and think about what's happened before this scene I'm about to do, think about what I want, think about think about what I'm feeling, just kind of get in touch with myself.
Okay.
Wes, you can come up. Good Lord, what happened to you?
Car accident.
Well, let's get you fixed up.
Ow!
Oh, quit crying like a baby. It's not like this is your first time with stitches.
It's the first time on the eyebrow. Ow! It hurts more.
So, what kind of car accident did you get yourself into?
Speeding. I turned a corner and rolled my truck.
Speeding? What were you doing speeding? There. You're all fixed up. And you look exhausted.
Yeah, well, I just got in a car wreck.
Uh-huh. Have you been sleeping right? Eating well?
Probably not.
I didn't think so. Why don't you lay back there and take an hour's rest?
I really need to get going.
I am not taking no for an answer. Lay down. I don't care if you take a nap, sleep, or stare at the ceiling as long as you get an hour's rest. Do it for me, okay?
Maybe an hour.
All right, there you go. I'll be back later.
Now, when going to an audition, how does a typical audition day go from start to finish?
Okay. Well, just like being on set and making the movie, I don't know that there is a typical audition day. If I have to drive far away, I don't like that. That adds a bit of anxiety and pressure because I have to organize my kids and sitters, my wardrobe, my meals, because I told you I take my food with me. So that's a little bit different than a Charlotte audition or Charlotte audition, because typically those are nice because I usually drive to the location and I see a room full of people and I kind of may check them out and see who else is there, but I have to say, usually you're in and out of these auditions so fast that I don't have much time to worry about who else is there. I try not to engage in conversation for the similar reason that I told you earlier. You know, you want to be friendly, but I don't want to be too chatty because I want to have my game on when I go into the audition and not to be distracted by my friends that are there, whether I feel competition or if I'm just happy to see them. So the auditions are usually pretty quick. It's unusual for a well-run audition to take very long. And because of that, sometimes you think, oh wow, I got myself looking good, got my well, you asked what I might do. Let me back up and say, I'd have to print up my headshot and resume, because I usually do that so that my resume is up to date. I don't have like a drawer full of headshots and resumes. I usually do it that day or the night before, depending on when I find out about the audition. I usually find out about the audition 1 to 2 days before, so you don't have much advance notice on an audition. So I'll print up the headshot and resume, dress in the style that role requires. You know, if it's a nurse or if it's a teacher, you don't have to necessarily dress like that person, but something that they may wear. Get there and you're done. You're done. You know, the audition's like 1 minute or 3 minutes, and then you go home and you think, I could have done that a little differently. You second guess yourself, but then you get home and you get on the internet and find out what else there is, what other opportunities are waiting for you.
Now, as far as getting the auditions, do you go through an agent, or do you just kind of find them on your own? Have you gone both ways, you know?
Oh, sure.
One or the other?
It's everything. You know, it's just like I was telling you earlier to the new actor, network. I go to the internet. Southern Casting Call sometimes has some stuff. Nowadays, Facebook, people are constantly posting, I need someone for this, or I have a casting call. And then I love it when my agent has an audition for me, because that's typically a better paying opportunity and maybe a network or something. But I have to say, I think most of us actors, at least with independent film, we're finding them on our own, word of mouth. And sometimes I'm really lucky that someone just calls me up and says, this is happening. They either want me to audition or they've cast me. So that's how it goes. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you it rains. You know, it's either a drought or it's pouring, because it seems like I'll get a bunch of auditions or even films that will overlap. In fact, when I was on Find a Way, I had to turn down another film because I was busy with Find a Way, and then it'll be slow and you'll hear crickets. So, and that's the time when I'm really like maybe looking what else can be in the pipeline. Okay, you know, I've finished with these projects. Now I need to start looking to see what's coming up. What can I audition for? Who do I need to talk to? That's when I might be networking with, you know, on Facebook. I look at other people's projects and I'll say, whoa, I like what that director's doing. I'm gonna connect with that person, introduce myself, start a dialogue, and then when they have a project, they may think of me. So it's an everyday thing, whether I'm getting approached for an audition or I'm spending time looking for the next audition or the next project. With the success of Homeland, that's just bringing a lot of attention to Charlotte, and hopefully more and more opportunities. A lot of the actors that are in Homeland, I think they're still going to, a lot of these big projects are still going to cast out of LA. I'm hoping that with more and more projects coming here, they'll cast more locals. And so I see a lot of promising things, and I also see a lot of just on the indie level, a lot of people raising the bar and doing good stuff, and so that's promising. New people should probably expect to do some free roles, because that's what's happening with new directors. They don't have money, so they're going to rely on new actors to be willing to work for free. But having said that, I will also tell you that I'm going to encourage all actors to ask for what they can, because I think they need to be paid, or they need to receive some copy and credit. So even new actors, need to ask for what they can. Maybe gas, if you're traveling some distance. Food. So, But I know that both sides of filming have their challenges, and sometimes a low budget film is dealing with just paying for the operation of the film. And so you have to look and say, is this a great opportunity for me? And don't be afraid to say no. If you think, I've had to say no to projects because they were too far away, so I couldn't see the benefit of the project when it was a non-paying project, when I'm gonna have to pay for gas. Then there's been projects that have not even paid very much, and I've had to say, they paid something, but I've still had to say no because it wasn't worth my time away from my family in terms of the pay for it.
I know it's not what we planned, but maybe it could be wonderful. Maybe.
I just don't understand how this happened. I used stuff, you used stuff, we double protected ourselves from this, Zoe.
Nate, no birth control is 100% effective.
Even when you add 2 and 2 together?
Okay, well think about it. If we did all that and we still got pregnant, maybe it's fate. Honey, maybe someone is trying to tell us to change our plan.
You're a friggin' doctor!
Nate, I'm just saying, let's...
This is not what I signed up for.
Me either. But things happen. Yeah, it's unexpected and it's gonna be crazy, but it could be wonderful.
I told you I never wanted kids.
What are you saying?
I'm saying I can't do this. I can't do this.
Are you leaving?
Okay, I don't want to.
Wait. We don't have to make this decision right now.
Zoe, I love you. I want to be with you. But I can't do this. Okay? You said it's what you wanted to. Okay.
We were talking earlier about my background and my training. Most of that was theater, although I did do some small film stuff growing up. Most of what I did was theater until 3 years ago. And I did some local theater in Charlotte and enjoyed that. But I'm pretty much all film now. I don't even have time. Theater is time consuming in a different way than film is, because theater you have lots of rehearsals and then you have a run of the show. So it's really long hours that I would be away from my family, and you cannot balance that, I feel, as easily as I can balance my film. Because with a film, they can say, here are our shoot dates, and if I have conflicts, we can maybe work it out. With a show, a theater production, these are the dates, these are the rehearsals, that's it. You have to be there for it. And it's a different process too, because you are rehearsing. It's a different process. It's a little bit different feeling when you're acting in theater. I still get that, that connection with the other actors, but it's still a little different. Whereas with film, you don't. A lot of us don't really want much rehearsal because we really want it to be honest and we say organic, and it's typically that happens when you haven't had a ton of rehearsal, minimal rehearsal. If some actors don't want to rehearse at all, so I haven't done theater in a long time. I did do some theater probably 10 years ago here in the Charlotte area, and also in Fort Mill and Rock Hill too. So all over here. That's all I was doing was theater. Now all I do is film.
Do you find that theater prepares you for film, or are they so different, like that, aside from putting yourself into the emotion?
That's a great question, because like I said, I've done so much theater prior to the last few years. I have to say, of course, it's given me like a foundation, but my approach to acting has changed so much in the last 3 years, gearing me towards what I do in film, that I have to say some of what I did as a theater actor, or some of the what I call technique that I used, or the approach, I don't use that for film. I have a really different approach for film than I did for theater. So I don't want to discount any of my theater training. It's valuable, but I don't rely on it, because I like to think that maybe I've grown so much as an actor, and I've worked in the last 3 years with some acting coaches that have really given me a turning point in my acting and what I'm doing.
Different mediums, I guess.
It's different mediums. I get, and as an adult, I feel like I'm a different actor than I was as a young lady. You know, I feel different. I feel different about acting, and yeah, maybe it is different mediums. But I have to say, if I went back to doing more theater, I wouldn't change how I'm acting. I'd be exactly the same way as I am for film. The director might require some different things of me than the directors from film, and I would adapt to what that director's requires.
Okay.
But right now it's all film.
Hey, but we can choose to live in the moment, not dwell on the past, what was, what could be in the future. But we live now, and you have to fight this and focus on what's good in you and in your life. Because, baby, one day we're going to be old.
What?
Yeah. We're going to be old, and it's going to be you carrying me up those stairs with my bad hips and my white tennis shoes.
Oh, no, you're not wearing those clunky shoes. I'm not letting you wear those clunky shoes.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm not going to let you sit here and throw in the towel. So get up and get in there and play with those beautiful daughters of ours. Or else I'm going to mess you up.
Thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us today. We really appreciated it.
Oh, well, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
It's been really great. Any last things to promote before we sign off?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love for people to follow me on my Facebook fan page, and it's right here.
Awesome, thanks. Once again, this has been Kathy Sandvoss, and I'm Anna Wright for the Gig Spotting Network.